Why am I heated already? Like, I literally... Okay, maybe it's not intentional, but I don't know. At some point, it feels intentional when people do things or don't do things. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. I don't know. I don't want to sound paranoid or overly suspicious or anything like that, but like, what? Okay, so at the time of recording, it is November 18th, and by the time this gets posted, it'll probably be February. So, hello, time travel. I'm so annoyed. The thing about it, being super sensitive, I feel things. Like, if I go to pick up the phone, if I make a phone call and the other person is anxious, I feel that shit. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I just called this counselor person, and like, there's no reason for me to be anxious. There's literally no reason for me to be anxious. It's like, you know what I mean? But I called her and immediately I was like, oh my God, what is this feeling? And it's just like, what the fuck? The last time I talked to her was last week. She told me that she would call me in an hour. She didn't call me back. It's been a week. There's been a weekend that has happened. And this is exactly why I blew up at my last counselor. And I don't know, it makes me feel like, because I already know. Like, I don't know. Like, maybe this is me. Like, let me, because I feel like I'm all over the place. So I know at this point in my journey that there are people in the world who will go out of their way to like disorient someone. I tweeted about it yesterday. Not tweet, I threaded about it. I don't know what you would say. But I sent a post on Threads about it. Like, there are evil people in this fucking world who will like literally, you like band together and like try to make you fucking feel like you're crazy. And I've witnessed people who have gone through that intimately. I've experienced people explain that situation to me. And at the time when it was being explained to me, I thought they were like a little bit unhinged. I thought they were crazy. Obviously, I tried to be supportive. I tried to be, you know what I mean? But I thought that they were crazy. But the more that I'm on this journey, I'm just like, what the fuck? What the fuck? I had 2 counselors. Both of them were not doing their job. You know what I mean? Both of them, it seemed like they were trying to make me feel crazy. You know what I mean? Like, the second one, it seemed like he wanted me to be angry. Like, and then this lady, who's supposed to be finding me a new counselor, is just like, what? And maybe it's my fault. Maybe I shouldn't be expressing what my wounds are to people. I don't know. Because, like, I've told my counselor, specifically directly to her face, like, when you tell me you're going to be here at a certain time, and then you don't show up at that time, for whatever reason, it makes my nervous system hurt. It hurts. You know, and her response to that was to immediately make excuses. You know what I mean? And it's just like, how do these people become mental health professionals? You know what I mean? Like, and that's why you really got to understand, when it comes to like any sort of like education field, it's just memorization. You don't actually have to be smart to be in any field. You just have to memorize information. That's what these people are doing, because like, there's no heart in it. There's no like empathy. It's like, what the fuck? You're like, and I don't want to call people evil, but at some point it becomes evil, because then you're hurting people because of your lack of empathy, your lack of consideration. You know what I mean? And maybe I'm just a special case. Maybe this isn't for everybody with these people. Maybe because of who I am and like what I admit. Maybe it's just me. Maybe I'm special. But either way, it's fucked up. And it's fucked up. You know what I mean? And I you know? I don't know. I want the truth. So when I say what I'm about to say, just understand the subcontext of, I genuinely just want the truth. I don't want to believe in a fantasy. I don't want to believe in whatever. But I want to believe that these people aren't like maliciously like attacking me. You know, I want to believe that they're not purposely trying to trigger me and make me upset. I want to believe that. But like, I don't know. It's like, once again, when I called her, immediately there was like an anxiety. And like, the first time I had ever talked to her, because I don't know how to explain this. It's going to sound crazy unless you actually experience this, or if you can somehow conceptualize this. But like, as a sensitive person, sometimes I find myself, like, when I'm interacting with a certain person, sometimes I find myself subconsciously preparing for that situation. And the first time we had talked, I had found myself in an overindulgence energy. I found myself overeating. And so when I was talking to her on the phone, I was freshly full. And I thought about that after the fact, and I was like, why, what the heck was that? And now I'm thinking about it. I just posted a thing about like intuition and food, the link between being full and intuition. And it makes sense now because I'm thinking about it and I'm like, yeah, because I would have felt uncomfortable. If I didn't have that food in my stomach, I would have felt uncomfortable. And I wouldn't have had the means to say, you seem pleasant. Because I told her on the phone, I was like, you seem pleasant. And she seemed to be thrilled about that compliment. But then the next 2 times I talked to her, it was just regular. Like I didn't necessarily have a fullness to me. And both of the other times that I talked to her, there was like an anxiety in my stomach. And it's like, once again, there's no reason for me to be anxious. There's literally no reason for me to be anxious. Like, it's like, you know what I mean? I'm hiring somebody for a service. Like, you know what I mean? Like, there's no reason for me to be anxious. Like, if there was an anxiety around me, it's the fear of, like, getting somebody who, like, is purposely triggering me. You know what I mean? But, like, once again, from a logistical level, like, I'm just, like, I hope and pray that, like, they're not actually, like, trying to piss me off. I don't know. Because it really is a thing. Like, there are people in this world, and I don't know how it works. I don't know all the details, but there are people who will come together as a group and then, like, do things to make somebody feel crazy. Once again, I've heard people explain this. There was this really attractive fellow who explained to me that he was being followed. He felt like he was being followed. He felt like he was being watched. And once again, when I was listening to him, I was coming from a place of compassion and understanding, but I also just assumed that he was, like, off his rocker. Because some of the things that he was talking about, I was like, that's probably not happening. I don't know why you would think that. But, like, looking back on it, I'm like, I'm pretty sure he was speaking the truth. I'm pretty sure he was being, you know, and it's not funny. It's not funny at all. We have to laugh in order to not cry, I guess, because it's a fucking terrible thing to think about and to come to terms with, the idea that there are people in the world who have status, who have power, because these aren't, like, nobodies. These aren't people, you know, these are people with money. These are people with status who will go out of their way to make somebody feel crazy. And, like, it's ridiculous. And I'm, like, talking about it, and I'm like, this crazy world we live in, bro. And one thing you gotta understand, if you're watching this and if you're, like, not one of those malicious people, you have to understand that people who do this are powerless. Like, there's nobody on this planet, nobody in existence that would try to harm another person if they genuinely felt secure within themselves. You know what I mean? Like, there's no way, because, like, when you think about it, like, the reason why people do this is because they feel like they have to. You know, some people are born into these systems. I don't know all the details. I don't know. But from what I've heard, some people are born into these systems. Some people are born into these covert groups, and it's a whole fucking bunch of nonsense, for real. You know, because then it makes me think about, like, the Freemasons. The Freemasons are supposed to be, officially, they're supposed to be, like, a helpful organization. They care about the greater good, apparently. But there's also a lot of secrecy shrouded in their rituals and stuff. So it's like, what's going on here? What's the truth? You know what I mean? What's the fucking truth? I don't know. At some point, and to some degree, I still do kind of feel like, you know, it's sad that people would think that they need to act this way to get ahead in life. You know, it's just really sad and pathetic that people, you know what I mean, think this way to do these things, you know. But then there's a part of me that's like, fuck compassion, fuck that, because it's like, we all go through the same shit. We all have the same opportunities in life, and it's crazy because it's like, oh my god, how do I say this? I'm gonna speak from a different perspective, and it's gonna sound crazy, even crazier than I already sounded, but here we are. So one thing I've realized along my journey is that there are a lot of illusions in this world, and one of those illusions is, I don't know how we should frame it, because I'm not a Christian necessarily, but I always like to frame it biblically. The devil, you know what I mean? There's the devil frequency or whatever, and they just want power. They just want control. They don't really care about love or kindness or stuff like that. They just want to feel in control, you know what I mean? And there's a thing that a lot of people experience. I've experienced this, where they get offered a lot of really awesome things, you know, and obviously there's a caveat. Obviously there's a string attached, you know, which is, I guess, to do, I don't know. And this is how a lot of people acquire fame, allegedly, according to that perspective, you know, because they made a deal with the devil character. You know, once again, I'm not saying this is like 100% fact, but this is a perspective that could be useful, you know what I mean? And a lot of people, most people, get an offer of some sort, especially when they are living, how do I say this? Especially when they have a naturally high vibration, especially when they are somebody who has a lot of potent energy, you know what I mean? They get offered that because it's like, the devil is fucking powerless, and they need people, they feel like they need people on their side, you know what I mean? So it's like an offer of like, I'll give you anything you want, you know what I mean? Just do X, Y, and Z. And a lot of people fucking fall for this, because they just don't have the fucking discernment to recognize that, like, literally you're signing your life away, you're signing your energy away to somebody who don't got shit, who doesn't, you know what I mean, who can't do shit really outside of what you do for them, you know what I mean? And it's just like this crazy cycle of people believing in a fantasy, believing in an illusion that, like, if they behave immorally they'll get certain rewards. It's really selfish, it's really stupid, you know. And I've had that offer, I've had that, like, experience several times, and I've literally, like, how do I even say this? Like, I was under the impression that I was going to die if I said no. I still said no, and I'm still alive. You know what I mean? And it's like, there's people in this world who, like, get that same information, and they think desperately that they're going to die if they say no. And so to them, it's life or death. But they're stupid. They don't have discernment enough to know that it's just an illusion, and that it doesn't even have control over them. It's not funny. It's actually really sad. But it's funny because it's like these people think that they're so smart, and they think that they have something substantial backing them. And it's like, bitch, you don't even know how stupid you are. Like, like, what? You fell for it. You fell for the trap, man. You fell for it. Yeah, so from that perspective, there's a lot of people walking around on this earth thinking that they have, like, God's promise, when really they fell for an illusion. You know what I mean? Like, it's ridiculous. And so on the other side of that, you really have to be mindful that there are people walking on this earth who are fucking stupid as fuck, who do not have discernment, and they will do anything as long as it promises them that they don't have to fucking die. You know what I mean? But then the crazy thing is that we all die anyway, so, like, what does it even matter? Yeah. It's literally like a spiritual mental disease, I think. Like, because I was gonna say psychosis, but it's spiritual also, and it's a mental illness, because it's like you're not thinking clearly. You don't have the proper balance or the grounding to understand even what you're experiencing. You know what I mean? It's ridiculous. Because once again, I've been through that, and so I am speaking from personal experience. Like, I've witnessed this, and I've experienced this, and I've had the opportunity. And thankfully, I'm smart enough to be able to, like, understand it and clock it. You know what I mean? To talk about it, because a lot of these motherfuckers are stupid, and they think so backwards, man. Like, it's crazy. You gotta watch out for people, because people are fucking crazy and evil and stupid. Okay, I'm sorry, I got really heated in this, but that's how I feel, man. Like, it's a crazy world we live in. Like, stay prayed up. Bye.